Okay, so we have our 4 swatches ranging from the tightest tension all the way to the slackest. So you can see there is quite a bit of difference. So let's start with the first one. So for this I use the tightest tension gauge that the Sentro machine has, and you can see the stitches are very beautiful. It's quite a tight knit. It didn't drop any. It came out really beautifully. However, when I was actually doing this on the machine, it was quite an unpleasant experience. It was really hard to crank the wheel. I felt like it was making a lot more noise than it usually does, and it just wasn't really very pleasant. And then when I actually got to row 30, which is why this is slightly smaller than the others, the tension knob actually flung off. So I would not recommend using that one if you are using an Aran weight yarn. Although the stitches are beautiful, it's just not worth breaking the machine over. So the next one, I used the smallest hole on the tension gauge, and this is the one that I do usually use, and it turned out absolutely fine. As you can see, we've got no holes in the fabric, no dropped stitches. It went through smoothly. I'll put on the timestamps of actually how long it took me to do each of these. So I did get a little bit of resistance as I was turning the wheel, but nothing too bad. It makes you actually go a little bit slower so you can actually see if you do drop anything. Okay, and then the next one up. This did go through the machine faster. It is a bit more of a looser weave compared to this one. And there's not too much difference. It does feel different, which obviously I can't convey to you. This feels slightly thicker and more cozy. This does feel a little bit more airy. I think you can actually tell that when I'm pulling on them, that this one is more airy. As you can see my fingers through that one, and you can't really on this one. Did it drop any stitches? Doesn't look like it does. No. So it still does produce quite a nice fabric. So if you wanted a nice area scarf, you could use that tension gauge, and it was slightly quicker to run through the 50 rows, and you do get a bit of a longer swatch as well. And then the final one was just an absolute disaster. I used the widest hole on the tension gauge, and as you can see, the stitches are all over the place. It's covered in holes. It dropped stitches all the time. It was really quick to crank the wheel, and I thought maybe it was just because I was going too fast, and that's why it was dropping stitches and putting holes in the fabric. So I did actually go really slow, and as you can see, it's still got loads of holes in the fabric. So even though it is quicker to use the bigger hole, you would have to stop constantly to fix these problems, and I think overall it actually wouldn't be quicker at all. And obviously this swatch is a lot bigger than, let's say, the tighter one. So you've got a lot more width there. Let's compare it with my preferred one. Yeah, so you do get a bit of a bigger swatch, but I'm just not sure it's worth the effort. So I would recommend for Aran weight yarn that you use the smallest hole. But if you do find that is causing too much tension on your yarn or too much tension on your hand as you're cranking the wheel, you can go with the next one up, and it's just going to be a little bit more airy. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful.